Hi, I'm Dan Lakin from Bar Events UK and welcome to another episode of Around the World in 80 Drinks. I'll put all the links in the description to Bar Events UK so you can find out more if you want to, and to my Insta if you want to follow us on there as well. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we do this every single week. We chat to bartenders all around the world about how COVID's affecting them at the moment, about their bartending history. They also make us a drink so you can make it at home if you can get the ingredients. Also later, as I'll get it again mentioned later, we will share the ingredients in the description or on the blog, and we'll also put links in to help you find the ingredients. So we're going to be speaking to Sarah all the way over in Stockholm. It's only an hour difference from me in the UK this time, so not too difficult for me to get my head around the amount of meetings I miss because of time differences. So let's not waste more any time. Let's cross over to Sarah in Stockholm. Roll VT. Everybody, this is Sarah in Stockholm, Sweden. She's the ambassador for Patron, amongst other things, I think. So first of all, Sarah, thanks a lot for coming on the show. How's it going over there?
Well, thank you for having me. I'm in, as you said, I'm in Stockholm at the moment, and we are one of the few countries that actually not have a shutdown, lockdown, or any curfew. So even though it's not easy here because the bars don't get government support, still have to be open. So it's not easy, but life is a little bit easier here right now. So I can't complain.
So tell the viewers what it is you do then as an ambassador.
So, well, my role is like a brand ambassador for Patron in Benelux and the Nordics, which includes 8 countries. So I'm normally actually based in Amsterdam, but I am Swedish originally. So when we went into a lockdown again in Amsterdam in mid-October, I was actually asked if I could come and help out with the Nordic market a bit more. So I'm now based in Stockholm, riding out the storm. So
amazing.
Yeah, well, normally my job as a brand ambassador is all about cocktail development, seminars, travels, brand home visits, all of that. But now, since we can't travel and we can't go into bars, I'm helping out with marketing team. And also there's a lot of planning going into what are we going to do as soon as it opens up, and doing things online and everything, and still basically keep the tequila community alive and going.
Yeah.
We are, a bit decimated right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So in normal times, are you literally sort of traveling sort of day in, day out, or do you spend a week in Sweden, a week in the Netherlands, or how does it work?
Well, it depends. Normally my travel schedule is about 2 countries a week.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's sometimes a bit hard for me to remember where I'm at. Luckily, all the Nordic countries feel quite at home, and I have really, really talented colleagues I work with in each market. So I always feel very welcome, which really helps. But I mean, our capital of our region is Amsterdam, so I do spend the most of the time in Amsterdam actually. So
okay.
Yeah. You can't say what you're doing as ambassador from one day to another. It's always different.
Amazing. It sounds like a great job. So what was your history in the drinks industry? Did you start off bartending? How did it work?
Well, so I'm a hospitality kid, if you could say like that, because my mom ran a restaurant in a hotel and a youth hostel on a golf course. So I grew up in the industry. As soon as you're old enough to work and help out, you better pick up that broom and help clean.
Yeah.
But then when I was around 20, I actually went to European Bartender School, so EBS. And I think from everything I've done, it was more like a month of, wow, this industry is fantastic. I loved everything about alcohol branding, brand knowledge, all the different categories, because there's so much, not just cocktails, that's one beautiful part of it, but there's also so much culture into why we drink and how we produce and everything. So it's amazing. It's in the bottomless pond in which you can use that yourself down in. So I love that part still. But then
amazing.
So then I bartended my way for a few years, and then I realized I really love branding. So I studied fashion and branding in Amsterdam. And because I figured out like fashion branding is some of the best branders in the world. So if I can learn to brand fashion, I can apply it on alcohol after to basically get away from a lot of sexism and also make it a lot more aligned with the spirit of the times. So
yeah.
And then
And
along the way, a lot of Bacardi work came in, and already before I was finished, Bacardi was knocking on the door. And since I'm also a huge tequila lover, and they had just purchased Patron, this is 2018. It was like a match. Everything came together. So
amazing.
Yeah. So then I became a tequila girl full time, basically. So
Amazing. God, it's I think when we initially chatted, for those of you who don't know, I always sort of chat to the bartenders before they come on the show. You were saying that a lot of bartenders, once they know they love the industry but they don't want to work behind the bar, they have two options, and that's, you know, be a rep or an ambassador, or open your own bar. I think that does ring so incredibly true. I've never done the ambassador thing. I have tried to open bars in the past. So yeah, it sounds like you've chosen a really good path.
I just basically went down which one can I be the most creative in, and I mean, like I saw my parents run a restaurant, so I see the passion, heart, and but also hours and grit that goes into it. So it was a big no, thank you for me. So
Yeah.
a huge respect for everyone that does it. I truly remarkable, and I'm lucky to get to work with people like that all the time. So and I think it was so funny when you asked me if I wanted to come and make a drink, because we always jokingly said within advocacy at Bacardi that who wants to see an ambassador bartender, fat and lazy. And I mean, like, I used to bartend, so, but if I would try to pull a few hours behind the stick now, I would probably die. I would last an hour, and then I would cry and cover myself in tickets and everything. So, but yeah, so it's basically, it's a way I always find both running a bar and or like being an ambassador. It's just like an elongation of the industry that we love so much, but a different way of getting this passion that we have for it to come to life. And I think it's just a natural next step. Not to say that there's not other beautiful paths as well. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, look, you've mentioned making drinks. Let's hand over to you and tell us what you're making and how you're going to do it.
All right. So for you that don't know, is that we are actually closing up on the 22nd of February. So we have a month away pretty much, which is International Margarita Day. And as you can imagine, as a tequila ambassador, this is a bit like Christmas, you know. It's a huge day for us. But I didn't want to come on here just to make you like a margarita. So I decided, why not go with a good old cocktail mashup? And this is a cocktail I've been making at home a lot of Christmas. I'm a huge believer in using local ingredients. Mind you, though, I do have some lemons in this recipe. They're not Swedish, but sadly, the lemon growing possibilities are quite low in Sweden. But I decided to just go with possibly the most popular cocktail in Sweden, which is a whiskey sour, turn it into a tequila sour, and then just smash it up with a margarita. And then
Nice.
to add a little Nordic touch, we're actually going to use some cloudberries that my mom picked on I'm not sure it's called a moor or a swamp. It's somewhere in between, I think.
Okay.
So these bad boys they're basically picked at the risk of your own life. So maybe not for everyone to make at home, but I mean, like, I would substitute them for either, you could go with blackberries or even sea buckthorn, or sea buckthorn would be amazing actually if you can get hold of that. But you know, and if nothing else, you know, skip the berries altogether and then just do a little tequila sour mashup thing. So I wanted to start with basically just, you know, the ingredients. So you would use about 40 mils of lemon, 10 of agave. So I know everyone always says that if you use agave, it's a Thomas margarita, but honestly, if I would spend my days arguing about what goes in what kind of margaritas, I would just not have time to do anything else. So, yeah. Egg whites, actually, because I do like the texture that you get in there. And that's the kind of the sour coming into it. I'm going to use 2 spoons of the cloudberries because they have a lot of, the pits are quite big. So you want to get a bit of the juices in as well, because otherwise there's going to be a lot of shaking involved to get the flavors out. And as I said, we are quite lazy. I'm a brand ambassador, so we're going to stay away from the hard work as much as possible. I would either do, if I would only just like make a tequila sour, I would definitely stick with the añejo. So Patron añejo, about 15 months age, because it has a beautiful like caramel kind of flavor to it with the cooked agave. But it's been scarce here as well, so we actually the silver is what we have left in the stock right now in the bar. I'm actually in the bar at Bacardi Martini, Sweden. But the silver is beautiful because it's quite a green, strong flavor that like very fresh agave that fits really, really well with the cloudberries and kind of breaks back towards the sweetness of the agave and everything. It mingles good. And then, of course, what makes it a little bit more like a margarita is, of course, that we're using a orange liqueur. You could use triple sec, but for Patron, we have our own, which is called Patron Citranche. It's a liqueur range. We have everything from orange to pineapple, coconut, and also lime. But if you can't get it, then just use the regular triple sec. About 20 mils of that one as well. Since we got egg whites and everything in here, we're just going to dry shake it a little bit first. Because, like I said, we need to break up the little cloudberries. There we go. Just a little bit. And I'm actually taking the advantage of actually having a working bar with an ice machine, because normally when I've been in lockdown as well, of course you can freeze in blocks of ice, which works great. But I've been really stuck with like stirred cocktails. So now when I have the ice in the sink and the cover bar, then I prefer to shake, because it's just not something I do at home so often. And then you shake. So I'm serving it up because, even here, I'm not sure, should you serve a sour on the rock? Should you serve it up? I mean, like, it's for everyone else to their own flavor to decide. I prefer to drink them up. And I mean, like, there's also a little bit of a flirt back towards the margarita. And then actually to kind of tie it back together, I don't know if you guys knew, but Sweden is one of the biggest markets in the world per capita of whiskey drinkers. So it's always like good to bring it back. And then we're just going to spray a little bit of Altmore 16 on top, because it has like a beautiful, it's the whiskey with gold in, right? And the cloudberries are called the gold of the north. So they mingle well together. So you spray a little bit on top. And there we go. A little mashup of a cocktail for you guys to see.
Amazing.
Well, we haven't tried it yet,
Let us know.
Yeah, it's a good thing it's... well, what am I kidding? It's not like we have a lot of times to fit now. Everyone's working from home. At least I got pants on tonight, today standing here, so...
Yeah, so I can't quite tell actually. I was just going to ask, what's the weather like out the back window? You were talking about ice, and I wasn't sure if everything was frozen over in Stockholm at the moment or not.
Well, it actually is, and what's actually funny when you're looking outside of this window, you can't see too much, but actually is that we've had a lot of snow and now it's melting.
Right.
So actually, very typical for Sweden that when this happens is that they put out little signs all around the house buildings that with warnings for snow falling down. So you have to actually walk at least 3-4 meters away from the building, because otherwise you might get hit by snow. So I wasn't really allowed to walk into the building today because they had put up all these warning signs. So you're like, okay, there's snow, can I run? So we got a steady like -2 degrees or something, but
wow.
Yeah. So
wow, nice.
I wouldn't say winter wonderland, but I mean, like on a stretch, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I once, I flew into Stockholm, and I once then got a connection flight up to, I think it's pronounced Avajar or something.
Oh,
In,
yeah.
yeah, in Lapland. It was absolutely stunning. It was absolutely beautiful.
So I mean, like it's beautiful. Like Sweden is such a beautiful country because it goes from having like the proper north, like you're talking Arvidsjaur or even Kiruna around there, and then you can go down all the way to the south where you have all these green we call it undulating hills and everything. So it's you can get everything like, and also like people always questioning, oh yeah, but do you even have summers? But we actually get like 35 degrees, you know, in the summer. So it's and also
Ideal.
actually up north where my parents are, they actually reported at minus 26 today. So it's
Oh
high
my
and low,
God.
high and low.
Oh my God. So I know you mentioned it briefly before about the bars and restaurants, but just tell us a bit more about that. So I think you were saying that you guys didn't actually go into a full lockdown when the rest of the world did in March 2020.
Yeah. So I mean, like I've spent my Corona year, 2020, we could say, continuing this year, being in between Amsterdam and being here in Stockholm. So I've seen the differences it has in the country. So Amsterdam, of course, had a proper lockdown. Everything was shut for 3 months, which was quite similar to the UK, actually.
Yeah.
And I saw a lot of, I mean, like, yes or no. I mean, like, we have to do whatever we can to get the disease under control. But a lot of the bartenders got funding and the bars as well from the Dutch government. So they're getting by. But now when we went into the second lockdown, a lot of people, we had quite a few really good bars that went bankrupt or just couldn't handle the second wave. So it's a few iconic bars have left us, sadly. And then if you're looking back to Sweden, of course, it's the country where Corona didn't existed, mind-wise, which is not true. And I think the severity of Corona maybe caught up with Sweden a little bit later, around November, when the second wave hits again. So even though, I mean, you can't really compare it because in Sweden, how we move in the country, in the culture, it's just, we're just not as closely upon each other, that like we are quite distant to each other, and we live alone, and all the bars stayed open. So life has felt somewhat normal in Sweden the whole time. Even if I wouldn't call Stockholm at the time now normal, at least we have more of a normal life. But the bars, a lot of bars are closing to ride it out, basically. So it's been a few protests against, because the opening times for when they're allowed to serve alcohol has been shutting down, closer down. Now we're down to 8:30.
Right.
And it's strange, but if there's one thing that the Swedes do, they're good at drinking good times. So I mean, it's a problem for the Swedes. I mean, everyone's just drunk a lot earlier now. So.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's definitely sort of a British mentality as well. So we share that.
We have a lot in common, you know. It's not just it's a lot of the drinking, yes, but you know.
And you were saying that there's no masks over there either. No one's forced to wear masks. Is that right?
On public transport, yes, but we don't have actually laws that can reinforce that. So they are talking about reinforcing, so you can get a fine if you don't. But a colleague of mine just said the other day when he went ride the tube to work, and that he'd never seen so many people not wear a mask, even when it was completely no restrictions about it. There were more people wearing masks.
Oh, right.
Wow. I think the Swedes in general are not very. We don't like conflict and confrontation. So it's more like a silent protest of not abiding to the rules they don't agree with.
Right.
So I mean, like it's hard to say. I mean, like now you just stay away from big masses of people. We can only gather like 4 people anyway. So, but bars are allowed to have people in still. So for hopefully
that's really good news. And has your government started vaccinating citizens yet?
Yeah, we started in both in Netherlands and in Stockholm. They started in January. So I feel like I mean, like to us that are, you know, a bit less of a risk group, we'll probably get it around June earliest.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like the same speed as many countries in Europe right now. But,
okay.
But luckily, all the people that work in healthcare have been vaccinated now, so that is a huge help, and very, very happy for that. And I guess all have already have corona, so I guess they're riding an antibody kind of wave right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel, so hopefully the bars and restaurants will get back to some sort of maximum operating capacity soon, so they can start getting the money they desperately need back in.
I can't wait to be out and actually see people practicing their craft and the passion that everyone has for our work, because it's so much, like I keep saying, heart and passion. It's just so much of you that has to go into this work. So I can't wait to see everyone back. And when it opens up again, judging of how it was after the first lockdown, it's going to be like a second end of prohibition, or third, I guess. Yeah. So hopefully that will happen soon. And then it will be spring. So then the sun will be here and it will be lovely. So
absolutely
keep positive, you know. And until then, just drink tequila and keep your mood up.
Well, that is an absolutely perfect place to finish. I really could sit at your bar all day and chat to you about booze and tequila, but we're going to have to cut it there. It's about 20 minutes in. So again, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Sarah in Stockholm, Sweden.
Thank you for having me.
What an awesome guest she was. Thank you again to Sarah for coming on Around the World in 80 Drinks. Like I always say, we're going to be going all around the world, so if there's anywhere you want us to go, then drop us a message. If there's any bartenders or any professions or any drinks that you want to see, then let us know. Drop us a message. And as always, I'm sending these stickers all around the world, so if you want some, just drop me a message. Drop us a PM, we'll find out your address, and we'll literally ship them anywhere in the world. And that's us for this week, so stay tuned, subscribe, like, share. If you do subscribe, you'll be the first to find out when we send these live. It's usually Saturday night in the evening UK time. So that's it for this week. I've been Dan Lakin. This is Around the World in 80 Drinks. Thanks for watching.